The magic of the Culture Blaster awaits us. This man, when it comes to film, music, art, he is without peer. Wrote for the San Francisco Chronicle for years. He's a brilliant writer. He's a screenwriter. He's a movie critic, and he shares his musings as the Culture Blaster across social media and here every week. He comes and goes on a rainbow. The wonderful Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder.
Hey, Merry Xmas to all. I certainly want to acknowledge the birthday of Jesus X. That guy, he was something else.
But he really got it done.
He was. And in fact, with that in mind, and it is Christmas Eve, we have kind of an annual tradition. I was at the Tam O'Shanter in LA's groovy Atwater Village neighborhood last night. It's the historic Scottish pub that was the go-to watering hole and lunch destination for Walt Disney and his core animators back in the day. And there is even a tiny brass plaque to that effect on the table where they always gathered, which is kind of cool.
That is cool, yeah.
Anyway, the Tam features festive decor for the holidays, and as Christmas approaches, they have a quartet of Christmas carolers in Dickensian garb, singing all the classic carols like God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen and Good King Wenceslas. Last night, they started with Feliz Navidad, a longtime favorite of Victorian London's Mexican community. And they also did Last Christmas. And a lot of people don't know this, but Charles Dickens was a big Wham fan. I mean, seriously.
I didn't know that, yeah.
But, I feel kind of festive, and it has been a difficult year. I'm excited that your birthday is coming up on Friday.
Thank you, Michael. Let's get it back to me.
Happy birthday in advance. I know you're going to self-award the Rod of Equity and Mercy. By the way, Mark, I don't want to upset you or worry you. I just got wind of a cease and desist from a British couple in Sussex, Rod Equity and his wife Mercy. They are very upset with how you're making use of their name over and over again.
Wow, that could be one of my first battles of the new year. This is the Tony, in his remarkable ability to find a video, has found a picture of that spot that you were talking about. This was a favorite spot of Walt Disney and his Imagineers, the very thing to which you were referring in that restaurant in Hollywood.
Tony is Tony on the spot, always appreciated. And by the way, a shout out to him and all of his loved ones, and to Albert, who isn't here, and obviously the Kim and her family. It's that time of year when you kind of recognize friendship and camaraderie, and you want to express the love. And one of the great things about this Tam O'Shanter thing is a gathering of friends, and we do it every year, and it is really a wonderful, warm circumstance. And we drink the pints and have a little snackage. And
I'm just delighted to know that you actually have friends, Michael Snyder.
I know, it's hard to believe, buddy. Hey, you're my friend. I risked hydroplaning and what have you.
It's stormy here today. So
really
hey, by the way, just to as a digression, and I'll probably mention this again, but this from Andrea Johnson, who says Jim Avila was honored yesterday on Meet the Press. They did a segment on people that we lost in 2025. In addition, the suave PR picture of Jim that they showed was a really cute picture of him as a very young reporter, says Andrea. That's really cool to know. I didn't know that. Now I'm going to go back and find that segment. Thank you, Andrea Johnson.
What a great guy. What a great guy. Honored I had a chance to meet him. Let's talk movies, because Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are big movie days. New films get released, and some of them are... they have the scent of awards season about them, and some don't, like the one I'm going to kick off with. Anaconda,
Anaconda doesn't work?
Well, hang on. Anaconda is not really a sequel. It's a movie about two guys who decide that they're going to make their own version of Anaconda. They're familiar with the original, which featured, among other people, Ice Cube and John Voight. Man, the idea of John Voight getting swallowed by a snake is a really good one, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the real John Voight.
You're not
politics,
a John Voight fan?
Not really.
Right.
Anyway, this is a stupid comedy with intermittent laughs. These two guys have been buddies forever. Paul Rudd is one of them, and he plays a struggling actor in L.A. He left Buffalo as a young man with big dreams, and they haven't really manifested. And his best buddy, played by Jack Black, is still back in Buffalo, and he makes wedding videos, but he's always aspired to be a movie maker, make a legitimate film. And during the holidays, I guess that must be the connection. Paul Rudd's character comes back to Buffalo and reconnects with an old girlfriend played by Tandaway Newton. She's slumming. I guess everybody needs the paycheck. And the three of them come to the realization that they can kind of finance their own low-budget Anaconda movie. I know, it's implausible, it's silly, and they are going to go down to the Amazon. They go to Brazil, and all hell breaks loose, and there are real anacondas out there, and obviously...
I saw the trailers or the commercials. It looks like a mix of kind of comedy and madcap reptilian fun.
It's a stupid comedy with intermittent laughs. There are moments of goofy, gross-out horror that are more phony than scary, which is good. And, you know, you got these two lead actors, one whose shtick is always trying too hard. That's Jack Black. And the other who trades in on his, let's call it laconic likability. That's Paul Rudd. And again, there's Tandaway Newton. Holy cow, what's she doing in the middle of this? Anyway, the whole enterprise is pretty ridiculous. I was rooting for the snakes. I'm not kidding. I really was. And there is more than one. There are some interesting moments, like I said, and some laughs. No question about it. Steve Zahn plays their third party, one of their best friends from their youth, and he's going to be their techie on their trek down the Amazon River. Yeah, God, you know, it could have been better, I think, and I guess it's counter-programming for what you might expect on Christmas.
I see.
But it does have its moments. It does seem like it's a streaming or cable option at some point for people. And
you were a bit disappointed.
Yeah, it was funny. I went with our friend Heather, and she laughed, and she said, that was so stupid, but I laughed.
Yeah.
Tom Gormican is the director and co-screenwriter. It's not, boy, here we go again. Michael Snyder, The Mark Thompson Show, not terrible.
It's not awful, yeah,
no, but it's not great either. Anyway, let's move on to something that is, in fact, in the discussion for the upcoming Oscar nominations.
So what I've done is I've asked Tony a couple of times in the chat to do something, and he's not paying attention to the chat, so I did it.
What's that?
Which is making the poster bigger and me smaller, Tony. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, your technical expertise.
Yes, I'm just
always
wondering, so people watching don't have to look at my mug in the bigger picture. What is the next film? And you'll see what I'm talking about.
Marty Supreme, which is a new movie written and directed and edited by Josh Safdie of the Safdie brothers.
Oh yeah, they're good
team.
usually.
Oh my God, they made together
Tony.
Uncut Gems, Good Time. They are really on it. They make these gritty, funny, oftentimes New York-based movies. And in this case, what Josh does is he goes back to the early 1950s in New York, and in a story inspired by a real guy, he tells the tale of a man, in this case, named Marty Mauser. He is a young guy, and he wants to be a ping pong champion, and he has skills. Unfortunately, he's also short on cash. He works at his uncle's shoe store, but he dreams of doing all these championship ping pong matches and getting somewhere. And he actually plays pretty well. And this guy, Marty, is played by everybody's favorite contemporary heartthrob, that cutie pie, Timothy Chalamet. And they kind of nerd him up a little bit. His skin is a little pockmarked in this. The makeup people are great. He's kind of a little greasy and weird looking. His mother is played by Fran Drescher, which is a lovely piece of casting. And his childhood girlfriend, who ends up getting further embroiled in his life, is played by Odessa A'zion, who is so wonderful in I Love L.A. If you haven't been watching that on HBO, I encourage you to watch it. She is, in fact, the daughter of Pamela Adlon, so she's kind of a legacy kid, and she changed her name a little bit to A'zion just to, kind of say, oh, no, I'm not my mom. But
that's cool.
She's wonderful in this thing, and it really carries you along, and unbelievably, it carries you along at 2.5 hours. There's not a dead moment in it.
That's a lot of ping pong.
It's really fun and really exciting. But I have to tell you, this character of Marty Mauser is not the most pleasant person. He is the embodiment of untrammeled ambition, and we see the price that often has to be paid for success of any kind. He's going to do whatever he can. Winning isn't everything for this guy, Marty. It's the only thing. When this thing is in a groove, I have to tell you, Marty Supreme is as tense and exciting as a championship ping pong match. And again, this guy's going to do anything to get
What is
over.
it? You've said that several times. He's going to do anything.
He's going to take money from the family. He's
That's
going to.
What I'm.
I didn't want to.
Is there an underhanded aspect to his aspiring to be a ping pong champion?
I think that was implied by what I said.
I think that's true.
But again, a great supporting cast. Safdie co-wrote this thing with Ronald Bronstein. And again, in addition to seeing the great Fran Drescher in a small role, we get Gwyneth Paltrow here as a faded Hollywood actress who's trying to revive her career on the stage. And somehow Marty connects with her in a very kind of sordid way. And one of the ways he's going to use her is that her husband is a very, very wealthy man, and Marty's going to try to get a little money out of this guy so he can continue his career as a ping pong professional. It's pretty good. And I have to say, I deduct a couple points for one thing and one thing only. Anachronistic 1980s needle drops at the top of the movie that took me out of this world of early 1950s New York City.
Oh, interesting. So they're not of the time.
No,
they're anachronistic.
At the very beginning.
That means that they're not of the time.
Yes. Then they he begins getting into more 50s oriented music, and it's fine. Had he saved an 80s needle drop for the end credits, I wouldn't have been as kind of.
But you're saying at the beginning of the movie, it really does. It was inappropriate.
But that doesn't mean. But
you're nitpicking. Is what you're saying.
I am. It's a very good film. Marty Supreme in theaters right now. Speaking of music, I'm going to tell you something honest and true and a little embarrassing. I was totally swept up by Song Sung Blue, a corny and blatant crowd pleaser.
Man.
Yeah, Mr. Cynical was pleased. This is the true story, or it's based on the true story of a couple who are musicians struggling in Milwaukee to get their careers going, and they do tribute nights and what have you. The guy who is played by the wonderfully talented Hugh Jackman, the guy, Mike, who's better known as Lightning, does, sort of Elvis-y stuff, but he really loves Neil Diamond's music. The woman, Claire, who is Thunder in their group Lightning and Thunder, does Patsy Cline music. And they decide to do a tribute to Neil Diamond, not an impersonation, but a tribute, and it catches fire. Pearl Jam has them open for them. Again, this is a true story. And what happens over the course of Song Sung Blue is they come up against some really difficult moments in life that actually threaten not only their partnership, but could ruin a weaker person. And I don't want to get into any great depth about it.
I'm intrigued now.
But
there's jeopardy here that I didn't know existed.
Well, it's I
thought it was just kind of one of those jukebox type movies.
No, it's a true story again, and some really kind of daunting things happen to the couple. And this is about how they deal with what they had to come up against, and also about this wonderful appreciation that the city of Milwaukee has for this group and their love of Neil Diamond and what have you. Again, lovely performances by Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. You get a lot of Neil Diamond music. And again, in some ways you may think this is pandering, but is it pandering to wait for the entire crowd to go, whoa, 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 when they perform Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline,
I guess you could call it that. Director, screenwriter Craig Brewer did a lovely job here. Again, this is not a great film, but it is very enjoyable, and the performances are lovely. It is opening wide. Song Sung Blue.
We have tickets for that on New Year's Eve day, says John Watson, and CC Ryder is saying, yay, just watched a 30-minute interview with Kate and Hugh on the making of the film. Shocked that 13 studios turned down the script.
It's very sweet. By the way, the initial inspiration for this was a documentary about this couple. Again, this is a true story.
But it was turned down by 13 studios. I'm just learning from CC Ryder.
Well,
written by the brilliant Craig Brewer, as you suggest, from Hustle and Flow and Footloose fame.
Yes, it's a very, very
Thank you, CC.
Sweet and entertaining movie. Michael Imperioli, Fisher Stevens, and Jim Belushi are among the supporting actors. And it's basically about the incredible charisma and likability of Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson, who doesn't make enough movies. Kate Hudson, she's a Nepo baby, but I don't care. She's talented and sweet.
She does a great job. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so
all right, we're finishing up a great one. What do you have?
Let's move on to The Testament of Ann Lee, which is a historical biography movie about a real woman, Ann Lee, who founded the religious sect known as the Shakers in the UK.
Oh, wow.
And then came over to the United States back in the 1700s while all this tumult was going on in the middle of the Revolutionary War and all that stuff. She's building her flock, and it's all about the situation.
It was in the 1700s.
It was back then during the Revolutionary War era, man.
Wow.
That stuff was going on, and they built their own little community in America. They basically had kind of gender and social equality ideas, and there was also a certain
that seems very un-American.
A sort of a reserve about sex and what have you.
Yeah.
But
everybody agreed on that.
There's a lot of the
Puritanism.
hymns. A lot of the hymns from that era are sung in a devotional way. There's chorus moments and stuff.
This is a documentary?
No, it's
a dramatic.
It's a dramatic. It's an historical drama.
Wow.
And Amanda Seyfried, who is cashing a paycheck for The Housemaid, does some of the best work of her entire career as Anne Lee. It's a very powerful performance. The director and co-screenwriter is Mona Fastvold, who was the co-screenwriter of The Brutalist, which was directed by Brady Corbett, she co-wrote The Brutalist. He co-wrote The Testament of Anne Lee, and I guess they have a really amazing partnership. I thought it was pretty impressive stuff, and it gets a little dry at times, but the performance by Seyfried really carries this thing.
How long is this one, Michael?
Well,
in a world where everything's 2.5 hours.
It's 2 hours and 17 minutes, Mark.
It's unbelievable.
You need your patience for this one.
I mean, they confound the religious sect in 2 hours and 17 minutes. I could found another one.
Right. But there's some good supporting
work.
But
you liked it.
I did.
And I'm intrigued by it. I'm going to go see it. Is it in theaters?
It is. Thomasin McKenzie and Lewis Pullman have supporting roles here. And I thought it was pretty impressive. I just want to talk one more time about a movie that I've kind of been thinking about over the past couple of weeks, and it's not a great film, but it, again, like Song Sung Blue, it's a little bit of a crowd pleaser. It's called The Choral, and The Choral is, in fact, one of those uplifting period dramedies that the English, the Scots, and the Irish do so well. It's based in some ways on a true story. It's set in 1916. The war is going on, World War I, and there are some men that are being conscripted, and they're going to go off to fight in the trenches. And in Yorkshire, there are still a few left, and there is apparently a society in the Ramsden, Yorkshire area that still wants to put on performances and what have you. So they have to recruit all these new people to do this. And it's a polyglot bunch. And they have to also find a new chorus master. And they find a guy played by Ralph Fiennes called Dr. Henry Guthrie. And he has just come back from a career in Germany where he has friends and a lot of love in his heart. And Germany, of course, is the enemy in World War I. So there's a lot of friction that happens with his return. And they want to put on a show. And this movie, The Choral, is about that. It's the latest collaboration between director Nicholas Heitner and playwright-screenwriter Alan Bennett, who are probably best known for their adaptations of Bennett's plays, The Madness of King George and The History Boys. Great pedigree here. This is not great, though. You do have a nice mix of budding young actors and UK vets. It's a little underplayed, but I just thought it was, kind of a sweet and engaging story that kind of will disappear out of your mind as soon as it's over. It's not the greatest work by any of the people involved, but it is.
But you liked it.
You
liked it as a trifle.
Yes, I would call it that, and it's in select theaters out there. I do want to mention, I know people have Netflix, and let's just wrap things up with Goodbye June. Goodbye June is an obvious tearjerker that is too well cast and well performed to insult its audience. And it takes place just before Christmas. So there is the Christmas connection. And it stars Dame Helen Mirren as an older woman who has been battling cancer, and she's on her last legs, and she's in hospice, and she wants to die her way. And she has 3 daughters that are radically different from one another, that have always squabbled, and a kind of bruised son. And listen to who's playing the characters here, and you'll get an idea of why this thing works despite its obvious, ham-handed sentiment.
Yeah.
Kate Winslet, who directed, is one of the daughters. She's the kind of buttoned-down one who's had a good career and finances everybody else's issues. Toni Collette, who's sort of the wild child, who is like a yoga instructor on the European continent and has to come back because mom is ill. and Andrea Riseborough, who's sort of the crunchy granola type, who's married a kind of a good guy, and they're wrapped up with their kids. And the good guy's played by Stephen Merchant, and dad, opposite Helen Mirren, is Timothy Spall. Helen Mirren, Timothy Spall, Kate Winslet, Toni Collette. This is like power packed. Johnny Flynn plays the brother, and he's quite good. He played Bowie in a biopic a few years ago. It's the kind of movie that, is going to bum you out. It's just going to bum you out because, a wag, and I'm not one, might call it grief porn, but not me. By the way, Joe Anders, the son of the star and first-time director Winslet, wrote the script. But before you shout Nepo baby, Mark, allow me to shout Nepo baby. How you get a script like this made? Well, you're the son or daughter of a famous actress. Goodbye June is not, again, the Michael Snyder shrug. Not terrible. It's available on Netflix. And these performers are so engaging and charismatic. It's hard not to just flow with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty great pedigree. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I guess it can happen that despite the pedigree that, what they have to work with may just not be that,
Yeah, you're always talking, by the way, about how I cover the waterfront, the gamut, and you always say, hey, Korean movies and whatever. One more quick pin here.
All right.
No Other Choice is the latest film from the great Korean filmmaker Park Chan-wook, the guy who did Old Boy and The Handmaiden.
Yes, come on.
This is bracing, devilish, and darkly funny stuff. It's kind of a scathing, satirical skewering of heartless corporate culture, materialism, and the almost perverse drive to get ahead in business and life. This guy is laid off by this paper company where he works, and he's worked for many years, and he is totally freaking out. So he decides to take out anybody who might stand in the way of him getting another job. Oh my God, it is insane. Again, Park Chan-wook, brilliant Korean director, and the star of this thing is Lee Byung-hun, who has been in like the G.I. Joe movies and such, and here he is doing things back in Korea and just killing it as this desperate man. I give really high marks to what we would have to say is the kind of Tony foreign outlier here. No Other Choice opening today.
Wow, No Other Choice. It's in theaters. Scathing, satirical, and terrific.
Oh, yeah.
Around this laid-off employee. It's a wonderful Korean film. Goodbye June is an incredible ensemble cast. Toni Collette, Johnny Flynn, Andrea Riseborough, Timothy Spall, Helen Mirren. And
amazing.
So, great cast. They gather together to say goodbye to their mother, but the film doesn't quite live up to the cast. Not bad, but not, again, living up to that kind of crew.
It's kind of like Terms of Encroachment.
The choral, Nicholas Heitner and Alan Bennett. Alan Bennett did History Boys and The Madness of King George. Again, this is the one that stars Ray Fiennes. And the choral, again, it's a trifle. It's one that will, it's okay.
Yeah.
The Testament of Ann Lee. I didn't know about this religious sect.
The Shakers.
I mean, I knew the Shakers, but I didn't know they were founded in the UK in the 1700s. They come to America. I mean, this is really interesting to me. I think I'd like to see it, even though it does run over 2 hours. Historical drama is what it is. Amanda Seyfried is the star and apparently puts in a terrific performance. The Testament of Ann Lee is in theaters, and Michael liked it. Again, he doesn't love any of this stuff, but he likes it, and so it got enough of an endorsement for me to want to go.
I think you should check it out. But again, the performances, specifically by Seyfried, are amazing.
The movie Song Sung Blue, which Michael didn't expect he'd like, is a true story of a struggling couple, musicians, and their tribute to Neil Diamond. She does Patsy Cline, he does Neil Diamond. They end up with such momentum that they open for Pearl Jam, and I mean,
they become a very beloved part of the entertainment community in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and so this story, which again is a true story, involves the whitewater rafting, I guess, emotional whitewater rafting that was associated with their their rise. In other words, they endured a lot of challenges to their lives, even as they took this incredible ride.
Right, there is this tragedy that upends their entire thing that happens.
Song Sung Blue is in theaters. Marty Supreme, the story of an aspiring ping pong champion. Timothée Chalamet plays this guy. Again, a true story. Dreaming of ping pong dominance.
Inspired by a true story, not so much like Song Sung Blue.
Okay, Fran Drescher's in it. And Odessa, how does she say her last name?
Odessa A'zion.
A'zion, who the daughter of Pamela Adlon.
Yes, indeed.
He likes it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Marty Supreme may be the pick of the Christmas weekend. And, of course, the Safdie brothers involved, always good stuff. And Anaconda, they are doing amazing marketing for Anaconda. I see those spots everywhere. Michael Snyder says, not quite ringing the bell.
There was some smirking going on during the movie.
You might like it. Paul Rudd, Jack Black, etc. Michael, I wish we had any more time to muse and reflect, but sadly, we are all out of time. We're grateful for your contributions all year. Next week, I'm trying to think, will we... Your normal Friday spot.
We'll work out the details. I'm not sure what we're going to do. Again, FYI, at the Voice of San Francisco, thevoicesf.org, you have my top 10 movies of the year available for your reading and musing pleasure. And we can talk about the year in review next time we get together, whenever that might be.
I like to read your musings at thevoicesf.org and imagine you speaking out loud as you do for us here. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael Snyder.
Happy holidays. Go Niners.
Yeah.
Love you all.